While you can lead a horse to water but can't make it drink, you can't feed it salt. You can live such a salty life that just like with point 2, people start wondering, what's different? Hello, and thank you for joining us on the Lacey Brothers. I said us, and it is only me, so that makes no sense. Ryan is still in recovery, so I will be doing today's video alone, and then hopefully the next one, he is feeling better and we can finally do one with both of us again and get back on track with a regular schedule. That being said, today we're going to talk about Matthew 5:11 through 13. So starting at verse 11, he says, "Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet." So after looking at these verses, we're going to be asking one simple question. What is salt for? When he's talking about salt in this, what's he talking about? So we're going to go through and we're going to look at 3 things that salt is used for and the one that he is actually talking about in this verse. So the first thing is cleaning wounds. It was used by the Greeks, it was used by the Romans, the Egyptians, all sorts of civilizations used salt to clean wounds. We still do today. That's what saline is, it's just salt water. So we live in a fallen, broken world, right? Because Adam dropped the ball. So, if we're living a salty life in this fallen world, it means that we're living contrary to how the rest of the world lives its life, which is for self. Most of the world lives for self. So this salty life is going to be us living for God. And this is going to rub people the wrong way. People are going to get mad. People are going to get upset. People are going to get offended. Dolly Parton, right? She just came out and talked about changing her band name. And she said, because it was offensive, and if you're offensive, you need to change what you're doing. For a band name, I can understand that. It's a business, you're trying to make money. But I think it's a bad rule in general, because just because something offensive doesn't mean just because something is offensive, is what I was trying to say, doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong or needs to be taken away. Christ was so offensive, they crucified him. Everything he did was out of love, so that's how we are called to speak truth. But that doesn't mean that just because something is offensive, it needs to be changed or taken away. The whole walk of Christian faith is going to be offensive because we are pointing out that there is a right way to do it. We are excluding other ways. So people aren't going to be thrilled about that because whenever you say, hey, this is the right thing to do, and other people aren't doing it, you are saying that they are doing something wrong, and they are going to feel guilty, and people don't like to feel guilty. I don't even like to feel guilty. So it's putting salt in the wound, basically. And yes, it hurts, but then it cleans it. Living this salty life is showing people basically that there is a different way to do it, and it's letting them evaluate themselves to realize, why am I offended? What am I doing wrong? And if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have a reason to be offended. But it's a chance to let people see that they are broken and they're not going to fix it themselves. But we know someone who can, and that's Christ. So that's the first thing that we looked at. Number 2. Salt amplifies flavor in everything. And this is actually what Matthew is talking about in verses 11 through 13. Salt is very strong, right? Taste-wise. So imagine someone that's never had salt before, take a big handful, just throw it in their mouth. They're going to think it's disgusting. They're going to spit it out, probably throw up, drink water, probably, and then they're going to be done with salt for the rest of their life. They're probably never going to want anything else to do with it. So imagine the look on their face when we turn around and say, yeah, we put salt on everything. Everything we eat here, we cover in salt. They're going to think we're crazy, and they're going to think that everything tastes as bad as the experience that they just had. Is that mouthful of salt. But you and I know that when salt is used properly, it brings out the best flavors. It pulls them out and lets you experience all the flavors in whatever it is that you're eating. We should help bring out the flavor of Christ in a broken world. Living this salty life isn't bashing people over the head with the Bible. It's not screaming at them about Christianity and everything wrong that they're doing. It's not reposting all the Facebook posts that say, share this if you love Jesus, ignore this if you're going to go have tea with Satan, or whatever they say. That's not this walk of Christianity. That's not what it's about. We need to be walking so that people can see us and realize we're different. They should be looking at us, and we should be showing the salt of Christ on this broken earth, that they go, they're experiencing trials and tribulations and heartbreak and sadness. How are they still glad? How are they still joyful? How are they at peace? We should be so different that it makes them wonder, what is this Christ that they keep talking about? What is the reason that they're here? Why are they still doing with this? So that's what Matthew is talking about, and that's the second reason. Now we're going to look at the third and the last, and this one I really, really like. Salt makes people thirsty. Speaking of, we've all had pretzels, we've all had chips, we've all had popcorn, we've all had insert something else with salt. I don't know. I had 3 examples written down. Those were them. It makes you thirsty. You immediately need something to drink. We've all heard the expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's true. And the same goes with the non-believers. You can scream about Jesus until you're blue in the face. You can tell them all the great things that he's done for you. You can do everything that you think you're supposed to do, and they still don't accept. Because we can't make them accept the salvation. We can't. That's not what we're called to do either. We're called to sow the seed and then leave it to God. Someone else might come along and be able to reap the reward of that seed, but our job is to sow the seed. So while you can't lead a horse to water, but can't make it drink, you can feed it salt. You can live such a salty life that, just like with point 2, people start wondering, what's different? How are they living how they're living? How are they so peaceful and joyful in the middle of everything that's going on in their life? If we're truly living these salty lives, these Christ-saturated lives, they will naturally become thirsty. And they'll start looking for whatever it is that satisfies that thirst. And we all know there's only one thing that can do that, and that's Christ. A sponge can only absorb what's around it, right? What it's engulfed in. And in the same sense, when you squeeze a sponge, it can't just randomly start pouring out something different. It can only pour out what it soaked in. So the more we're seeking Christ and truly, truly trying to find him and live as he wants us to live, when those hard times comes, when those trials and tribulations come, that's all we're going to be able to do, is proclaim the name of Christ and just glorify him through everything, because that's all we have in us. So the more we soak up and get squeezed and get to pour him out, the more others are going to taste that salt and go, man, I want what he has. I need to satisfy this thirst. So as you go out this week, wake up every day and make a conscious decision to seek Christ. To try to be as close to Christ as you can every day, so that when those trials and tribulations come, and they will come. We are promised that in Scripture. All you can do is glorify Christ and proclaim His great name. So thank you for watching. I hope this helps. I hope this meets some of you and just it hits you in a way that you can't explain it, that it's what you needed. That's what I'm hoping for. So like I said, hopefully Ryan is back next week and we can get a video of both of us together. If not, you'll still have one of us. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time.